Peace, family. Underground Railroad here at Nicholas Bookstore. We here again with the brother Ras Ben. How you doing, brother?
Thankful, blessed.
Brother, it's good to have you here again, brother. It's good to have somebody from the black community that deals with, the science of UFOs and extraterrestrials and things of that nature. As I told the brother Blue Pill the other day, man, you gotta examine this from all angles. You know what I'm saying? And nobody's wrong. It's just a different perspective on things. We each have our own idea, and we each got live in this relative reality or whatever. And this is what you're expert at. And if the people could resonate with it, I advise y'all to listen, because this brother's dropping some jewels right here. So we gonna get in. Yeah, so we gonna get right into it, brother Ras Ben. Brother Ras Ben, I've been hearing people talk about this white gentleman that came out with a YouTube video saying that there are black people, jet black beings orbiting Saturn. And Phil Valentine talked about it briefly at the UFO conference. Could you talk briefly about what are they talking about? Because I'm not sure if everybody heard the UFO conference, but what are they talking about when they say there's jet black beings orbiting Saturn?
Well, the reality is one of the biggest secrets, surrounded by a myriad of other stars and celestial bodies. But that's the seventh heaven. But then you also got what will be the sixth heaven, is what they call the Milky Way spiral. But that arm of stellar dust and stars that we see as the Milky Way. That's the sixth heaven. Heaven right after that is the Sirius star system. Sirius star system is the closest, what they call black star, dark star, to our solar system. That's how we know the Sirius system is actually our central sun, that our sun orbits around. It's a dark star, 8.2 light years away, which in celestial terms is very close.
Mm-hmm.
Then you got the solar sphere, the lunar sphere, and the atmosphere. Those are the seven heavens. Okay? The rulers of them all. Rulers of all those heavens.
Black beings.
Humanoids, that's right.
Black humanoids are rulers of all these heavens.
That's right. So, Babylon is trying to trick us into thinking that the ones they call the Greys and the reptilians, that they're extraterrestrial in origin, that they are actually inner earth beings. These are entities that have been imprisoned, actually, entombed in our earth for a very long time, probably millions of years. And they're attempting to escape from out of the earth through manipulating us. And on the flip side, our family, our extraterrestrial ancestors are trying to look out for us. They're the ones coming from the heavens. And so we're actually in the middle of what you could characterize an intergalactic battle between a species of reptilian type beings and these black humanoids that are, what they say, the guardians of the galaxy. They got that out now. I haven't even seen it, but again, they always want to flip the script. They want everybody to. They want us to visualize everyone as the guardians of the galaxies except ourselves.
So now, these extraterrestrial relatives that we have, do they go through the same issues we go through here on planet Earth, as far as the Caucasian and what we would call racism down here, and them trying to prevent us from having knowledge of self? Are they going through that where they're at?
Well, what I would say is this. one of the names of those reptilian beings, historically and in prophecy, is the deceivers of the nations. Okay? So they have deceived humanity to see ourselves through, as Brother Tariq Bey say, schematica and dogmatica, ism and schism. So there's plenty of ism and schisms that divide me, and race is one of them. Okay? But racism is a false notion, man, because you can't trust all people with melanin. And everyone who appears like they're from Europe isn't your enemy. And that's real. You know, and it's a hard reality for those who are under the illusion cast by the deceivers of the nations to accept. You know?
Mm-hmm.
But they want to divide I and I. Because once you're divided, you're easy to conquer, you know? But that's not to say that they haven't manipulated certain non-melanated people, right? Because see, one thing melanin does is it increases your sensitivity, right? The more sensitive you are, more than likely, the more empathetic, sympathetic, and compassionate you're going to be, right? When you're in that state, it's hard to act inhumane and do things in a dehumanized state, right? If you want to act, if you want to manipulate someone to act in an inhumane, dehumanized way, you got to make them insensitive, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that they don't feel what a next one is going through.
Mm-hmm.
It's easier for the deceivers of the nations to manipulate non-melanated people to be in that state. Okay?
Mm.
And, but that manipulation has to also go genetic. Meaning, those reptilian beings have spawned, have interbred, intermingled, mixed up their genetics with certain European-looking cats, right? They're the ones that are called the blue bloods, right? Those 13 bloodlines of the Illuminati, right? Spawns of Pindar, who's the penis of the dragon, okay?
So go ahead.
So, right, those ones, they're not even fully human. They're really what you would call mankind. They're kind of like a man. They're kind of human, but they're really not. They've been bred and genetically manipulated to be insensitive and inhumane. So they can do things that, you know, someone fully human is going to be too sensitive, empathetic, sympathetic, and compassionate to do, right? They further the confusion amongst the apparent races, you know. So it's a complex question of race and identity, you know. But if we don't look at that issue in the context of the manipulation by the deceivers of the nations, we won't be able to transcend that thing of race, you know.
Now, how do we communicate with these extraterrestrial?
Now, I would avoid calling them extraterrestrials. Number one, let me say that.
Okay.
Because that's a Babylon label.
Uh-huh.
ETs and UFO. ET and UFO, those are Babylon labels. Okay. Call them Star Nation. Call call them, what do you say, in Kemet, they were known as the Anui. How we're, humanity is called the Anu. And our celestial ancestors were the Anui. Dogon call them the Nomo Titiani. Again, over on this side, Algonquin speakers, they would call them Star Nation people, you know. So let's give them some indigenous identity, you know. But one of the best ways to commune with them is through communion, intercommunication, okay? But actually sightings is a form of communication that they, you know, like when they appear, you know, what circumstance they appear, there's a message in that. They also use the crop circles as a means of communication, okay?
What have they been telling us all these years through the various crop circles we see that looks, you know, resembles the sacred geometry? What message are they trying to convey to us?
Well, they gave, there's a couple of crop circles that are called the most important crop circles ever. One of them was a picture of the reptilians with a message inscribed on what would look like a CD, a binary code expressed on a CD. And the message, when you translated the binary code into English, or translated the binary code using the ASCII key, it was a message in English that said, beware the deceivers and their false gifts and broken promises. There is much pain, but there is still time. And I will put in parentheses, to heal. Okay? Where deceives false gifts and broken promises. There's much pain, but there's still time to heal. Man, I can't quote it verbatim, but it was more or less saying, like, yeah.
It was a warning.
Their time, right. Don't get caught up in the technology.
Right.
Don't get caught up with the deceivers of the nations, these same ones I'm talking about, because they're trying to trick I, right? And that their time, their conduit, is closing. Their time of being able to manipulate us is coming to an end. Okay? Yeah, one of the things it said, believe there is still good out there. Because, right, you have Babylon or Hollywood tell you, you know, it's Battleground LA, it's aliens, it's storm ship troopers, it's Independence Day, it's these the ones coming from outer space is the ones coming to destroy us, right? So that message that what they call one of the most important crop circles ever is telling us, like, yeah, man, believe that the good is out there. Again, going forward to this biggest secret, this biggest mystery, that the real guardians of the galaxies are our extraterrestrial ancestors. They look like I. They look like us. You know?
Now, what made you get into this, Brother Ras Ben? Usually people have an experience. Some people, you know, as a child, astral projection, or, you know, clairvoyance, or, you know, telepathy, or what inspired you to get into this so heavily?
Well, primarily I'm obedient to spirit. And when I meditate and I commune, you know, I share information that the spirit puts it on. But how this thing has connected to synchronistic events in my life, right? Most importantly is, all right, because I grew up, I was a teenager in the 70s, right? That was Parliament. I grew up in Parliament, Funkadelic. I'm from Washington D.C., Chocolate City. If you know anything about Parliament, Funkadelic, right? There was a couple of cities they was really big on. One was Washington D.C. It was Chocolate City, right? And you couldn't really be a young person in D.C. in the 70s and not be immersed in the cosmology of George Clinton. Mm-hmm. And George Clinton was all about the mothership connection, you know. As a matter of fact, probably the most electrifying experience I ever had in my life was being a young person at a mothership connection concert when that mothership came down. And that pyramid would cut that, and that was the thing. They depicted the mothership as a pyramid craft with these orbs around it, with these flashing orbs, right? And then the mothership would come down, right? And then who would come out? Dr. Funkenstein, right? Mm. And when Dr. Funkenstein came up, man, the people, we would lose our minds. It was so we all, and I'll say this. See, we always looked at those coming from the heavens as a saving force, as something to welcome, just like you know, like what I'm talking about, like the mothership connection. Dr. Funkenstein, who is he? He was the big pill. The bigger the headache, the bigger the pill. So Dr. Funkenstein say, "Call me the big pill." What does that mean? He was the final solution to any headache. And meaning Babylon's sufferation and oppression. When Dr. Funkenstein came out that mothership, it's a wrap. It's over. It's the end game. Right? So I grew up with this awareness. So I'm studying YouTube. Total different, you know, I'm on some old other stuff. I'm not even thinking about some P-Funk, right? But I'm looking at YouTube, and you know how like you might be watching one thing and they'll have a little recommendation. Right. Yeah. So I see this clip of this pyramid ship, this pyramid mothership. And at first I ignored it because you know how YouTube is. It's easy to get distracted on YouTube. If you're trying to study something, you just can't be clicking on all the random things they put on the side, or you'll never.
Yeah, you'll be there for hours.
You'll be there for hours. You'll never finish your study. So I see this pyramid mothership on the side. I ain't even click on the thing, and it was appearing regularly, right? Then one day in my meditation, I'm sitting back meditating. The Spirit's like, "Yo, for days, we shown you the pyramid mothership. We shown you the mothership connection. And you ain't click on it. What are you dealing with?" Right? So next time I was on YouTube, I clicked on it and I was like, damn. It's the pyramid mothership. It's the mothership connection. George Clinton ain't never lied. Mm. So then I started studying this thing. And so by the time I finished, I got over 100, because when I was finding what I thought was a relevant clip, downloaded. I ain't even playing, like just leaving it in the cloud or whatever. I see a relevant clip, I download it. So it ended up, man, I had hundreds. I got hundreds of clips of the pyramid mothership and the beings that travel with it, also known as the orbs, also known as the Aphanim, you know, or the Opham, also known as the Anui, also known as the Nomo Titiani, right? Mm-hmm. So yeah, man, it was like, and then like you say, there's a lot of angles out here, and then there's more misinformation. There's more misinformation. So I felt like Spirit was using me as an instrument to get the clear message about who we are in relationship to the Guardians of the Galaxy, and what's the real deal with this thing.
Now, in terms of astral projection, a lot of people are interested in astral projection. A lot of people talk about it. When you study quantum physics, they say there's no such thing as time and space. You're here and then you're there. With all this studying you have done, would you say, and I don't want to sound crazy, but would you say, have you ever been to Mars? Have you ever been to any of these planets? By taking your mind there, and because this is what our ancestors said they did, at least from what I've read, as far as traveling to Sirius and communicating. Their bodies literally didn't go there, but their mind went there. But we are the mind. The body's just, you know, the instruments we use to navigate in this time-space continuum. So have you been to Mars? Have you been to any of these places?
Well, I've had mystical experiences and mystical journeys that when I reflect back on it, I could not have been in my body when I experienced those things. But, you know, when we put labels like astral projection on certain experiences, I don't know if that fully describes what it was. You know? So, because when you get in certain dimensions, particularly the 5th and 6th, when you're able to put your state, center your awareness in those dimensions, right? You're outside of the realms of time and space. Because time is the 4th dimension, space is the 3rd dimension. So space-time does exist, but only in certain dimension, right? And our spirit, by its nature, is beyond those 3rd and 4th dimension. And sometimes our spirit can feel confined or imprisoned in the 3rd and 4th dimension, you know? So, what I will say is this also, because this does tie into the reasoning that we're talking about. And I'll mention also that I think the most important ancient scripture to give us insight into all of this phenomenon is the Ethiopian book of Enoch. Okay? Because Enoch was taken on a tour to 7 heavens. He was also taken on a tour of the inner earth. You know, what we would call hell, the home, the tomb, the prison of the rebel reptilian beings. Okay, so Enoch was taken on a tour of all these things, and he wrote down everything he saw. Right? But when Enoch was at the 7th heaven, he said it was one of the most wondrous things he had ever seen. And his soul longed to be in that place. And the longer he was there and studying it, he was really amazed because he saw his, what he called his antecedent inheritance. He stood before his antecedent inheritance. And what did that mean? What does that mean? Enoch saw his past and future self there in the 7th heaven. What is that? And fully, what does that mean? And I'm going to relate this to the whole idea of quantum physics. Because quantum physics does say that our awareness our consciousness is not centered here in our body. That it's really what they would call a holographic or fractile projection. Our real self, the real Ras Ben is not here. The real Ras Ben is in the seventh heaven.
Right.
Projecting holographically, fractally.
Mm-hmm.
Here, my awareness here, and then through this body.
For what purpose?
The fulfillment of prophecy. But the point is to tie it into your question. That's where I'm going.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
All right. That the idea of astral projection, right, assumes that my highest self is here in my body,
Mm-hmm.
and that I'm going to project it out from my body somewhere,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
Where I was saying, nah, the real Ras Ben is in the seventh heaven.
Excellent.
And I'm holographically actually projecting myself into this body. So when what one would call astral projection, I would just say maybe I'm going to my original state. I'm going to my real home, you know, which
Mm-hmm.
is the seventh heaven,
Mm-hmm.
you know. So the Book of Enoch, again, is a key to really understanding a lot of these phenomena and how they all relate, you know.
Now, you mentioned holographic projections. You mentioned this being, you know, a holographic projection from the seventh heaven.
Right.
And it makes me think about the movie The Matrix and them saying that,
Exactly.
you know, this is all an illusion.
Yes.
Now, would that pertain to the rest of the planets just being an illusion as well? Saturn, Mars,
Well,
Jupiter?
they're realms. They're realms. They're not illusions, they're realms.
So is this a realm we're in now, Earth?
Of course this is a realm.
But this is an illusion.
No, it's not an illusion. It is a realm that we can make real.
Mm-hmm.
We make it real by being here.
Mm-hmm.
Once we, you know, the idea of quantum physics says, until I look at that box, that box ain't.
It doesn't exist.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We make it in a realm
Through the
our awareness.
through
makes
observation.
it
Yeah, they
real.
say through our observation.
Exactly.
Yeah. Yes.
All right. So, yeah, we make it real. We make this realm real by our presence.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Now, what about people that use drugs to attain a certain amount of awareness? You know, people talk about the ayahuasca, mushrooms, and able to tap into to this expanded awareness beyond what we see here, the holographic projection that we have here. They say our ancestors used to use drugs to tap into this expanded sort of awareness. You hear brothers smoke marijuana and say, man, well, they call it getting high. They get high somewhere.
You're the most high.
Right, right. So what do you think about, you know, even when you drink alcohol, they call it spirits.
Alcohol.
So what do you think about the use of drugs in order to tap into this expanded awareness?
It's only Babylon that makes them things bad.
Mm-hmm.
You know, Babylon makes laws that say drugs is illegal, right? Babylon puts labels on it, says you're an addict.
Mm-hmm.
You deal with drugs, you're addicted.
Mm-hmm.
You know. But, yeah, man, again, going to the Book of Enoch. The Book of Enoch, you know, when Enoch travels the first heaven, he comes up on, he describes 2 trees in detail. One tree he calls the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. And that's the carob tree, or the cacao tree. So apparent, and so this was the fruit of the cacao, or the fruit of the carob, that our ancestors, that they would call Adam and Eve, ate. That you say, set us apart from the innocence of just being a part of nature. Gave us knowledge of good and evil, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Let us know we were naked, as they would say, you know? But then the other tree that Enoch describes as the tree and not a tree of life, and it's the ganja tree.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, you study Kemet, the brethren, what's my brethren's name? Kalindi Ai. He penetrates, deciphered all the ancient symbols out of Kemet and shows us that, yeah man, mushrooms was an integral part of all the movements them priests did, you know? You go and right, we found pharaohs with cocaine, coca in them systems, right? And you go into Peru and them highlands, you find them priests, the most sacred priests, them keep that coca leaf happening, you know? So plants, certain plants have the ability to help us tap our DNA. Tight, right?
Mm-hmm.
And when it's rolled up tight, it's hard to access the information inside of it. Burn a little herb, right?
Mm-hmm.
Deal with a little mushroom or something botanical in a sacred fashion.
Mm-hmm.
It unravels the DNA. It causes the DNA spiral to loosen up. And once that, it's like the scroll is open.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Right.
And you can access the information. Okay? And there's nothing wrong with that. Humanity has done that from ever since. But, you know, Bobby Wrong is always going to label something. Anything that's going to give us power, Babylon's going to label in such a way to make us have fear, guilt, and shame. Unproductive emotions attached to it, so that we can't fully tap that thing, you know. Elijah Muhammad called it spookism.
Mm-hmm.
You know? So them spook us with them things. And that's not to say some psychotropic substances are detrimental to the body. That's not to say that, you know, overuse or imbalanced use. Like you burn some herb and go to McDonald's, like, yeah man, you ain't unraveling nothing. No DNA's opening up, right? But you probably are going to create toxic imbalances in some organs of your body, right? So there's got to be a balanced way to work with it, you know? And they had to be looked at as sacred. Because the plant kingdom, just like I work with the crystals, sacred stones, right? Same with the plant kingdom, there's sacred plants. That if we work with them, they got powers for us, you know? But we got to honor that sacredness if we think we're going to tap them powers.
Do you ever, you know, studying the star nations and, you know, the seventh heaven and, you know, just studying beyond this realm here, this realm of so-called physicality, which is just energy slowed down. Do you ever feel like, especially in the black community, you know, when brothers like you come on the scene, you know, black people, we've been through so much shit here in America. You know,
they don't want to hear it.
They don't want to hear it. More recently, the Mike Brown thing, St. Louis, Ferguson, Missouri. Some people would say, man, what the hell are you wasting your time worrying about some damn UFOs for, man? We fighting this beast here. We got bills to pay here, brother.
Right.
We trying to build a Black Wall Street. We trying to, you know, establish something here, brother. And you worrying about the seventh heaven and Mars and Jupiter when you need to be worried about right here. So do you ever feel discouraged in a sense, being a brother and other brothers and sisters may look at you like that? Does it ever discourage you from your studies?
Well, no, because to be honest, I ask myself the same thing. You know, I ask myself the same thing. And, you know, we have to be grounded in healing ourselves, our family, our community. I'm not even going to say nation, because I think if we say selves, family, and community, if we commit to that, right, then you know, then we can maybe start thinking about our nation, you know. And when I find myself dealing that scene too long, I question myself. Am I trying to escape?
Right, that's what they're saying.
Am I trying to escape reality? Am I trying to, you know, look to my salvation from a force outside of myself, wanting from the heavens to open, and angelic forces come down and just take Babylon out for me, right? So I ask myself the same question, and I'm thankful people do ask me that, because it keeps me grounded in the works that need to be done here and now, you know. But you go to Philadelphia, you know, most people would tell you I'm well rooted in healing the community, you know. So I don't forsake those works, you know. But again, what's got me into dealing with that Star Nation is obedience. Only reason why I'm doing this is because of obedience, you know. And a lot of things that Spirit puts on me to study and bring forth to the community is things that would cause me to have a lot of reflection. For example, I'm a Rasta, okay? Ethiopia is Mount Zion, right? The West is, in Rasta, the West, this is the land of the dead. You have to trot east, right? But Spirit has been showing me really how sacred this land is. This land called America, right? And a whole Moorish legacy, and how this was really a land of refuge and asylum from Rome for thousands of years. And a lot of prophecy that is to be fulfilled is going to be fulfilled in this land. That whole science Horace Butler talks about, when the rocks cry out. So that whole science has been on me lately to bring forth. That puts me in natural conflict with my teachings as Rasta, that says, you know, this is the land of the dead. Repatriation is a must. You know, Africa for Africans at home and abroad. You know, how do I balance them too? So I'm saying with the crystals. When the first Rocks of Ages came out in the year 2000, nobody, right, and here in 2014, people are now open to hear about crystals. We got a house full of people upstairs here to hear about crystals. Year 2000, man, we wasn't up on the crystals. Black people wasn't trying to hear. African people, you know, indigenous people weren't trying to hear about no crystals, you know. But by the time the reprint came out, 2008, the times, the vibes, move people to awaken to them things, you know? So I feel it's the same way, that 2014, not everyone may see the relevance of Star Nation science. Just like in the year 2000, not most people saw the relevance of crystals. The time will tell, you know? So no, I don't get discouraged. I overstand. You know? And again, I'm thankful because I'm right there with them. I'm right there with them as far as questioning myself to make sure I stay grounded on what's really relevant works.
Now, people have said that there's a connection between black hair and I guess the some type of communication, especially locks. People saying, you know, have you ever heard that?
Our hair is our antenna.
Yeah, like it's like our antenna.
Right.
Do you know anything about that? Is there any truth to that?
There's absolute truth to that. Our hair is an extension of our nervous system.
The hair.
Yes. And just like on a TV, you want a good signal, you gotta raise the antenna.
Mm-hmm.
A long antenna is gonna pick up the signal better than you put the antenna down.
Mm-hmm.
You know? And then the very high frequencies, the straight antennas pick up. The ultra high frequencies, the curved antennas pick up. So the hair with the kink, the hair with the curl,
The spiral.
pick up. The spiral is going to pick up the higher frequencies.
Wow. And what if a brother go bald, man?
Well, they would say the illuminated ones, the ones who no longer needed to receive information because they themselves were radiant of knowledge, wise mind, understanding, that they would cut their hair, and that's what that embodied. You know, so there's no judgment on what a man deal with. You know, the one thing I would say is that if you're going to wear locks, know the science with it. Don't let it be no style and fashion.
Right.
Right? Because yeah, you might look good or whatever. You thinking you look good, but then you're manifesting all these confused thoughts because you're picking up frequencies that you're not conscious of. And then those frequencies is informing your thought, your speech. So then you're a living paradox, you know? So if you're going to wear the locks, know the science, know what you're tuning into, what frequencies is coming into your heavens, it's coming into your awareness.
People have said before that, I want to touch a little bit on dreams. You know, a lot of teachers say, a lot of books say, when you dream, you're traveling. You're not in the body no more. You're traveling. Some say astral project. There's different terms people use for that. People have reported experiencing sex with people that they have never seen before. And they wake up like, damn, I've never seen that person. I don't understand how that works. So would you be able to tell me what exactly is happening when people are having these experiences, or people are talking about these experiences that happens in their dreams? Are they traveling to another realm and, you know, getting some galactic booty or something like that? I mean, well, what's going on? Is it just something that's in their subconscious mind, so the dream is producing a visual image of it?
Well, when we sleep, right, if we are to have what you would call a tranquil, fulfilling, sleep, our mind has to transcend the fourth dimension, or what they would call the astral realm. The astral realm is space-time. It's the fabric of space-time. Okay, that's the astral realm. That's not a particularly desirable realm to be in. Fourth dimension is the realm of effect. It's not the realm of cause. So it's what they would also call the realm of karma. It's also the realm where our mind, like I said, some people consider the fourth dimension to be like a prison for the mind, because we're sixth, seventh dimensional beings. You know, our real nature, our higher selves, right? So when we come down in this 3D, 4D reality, sometimes it's confining. When, for whatever reason, lack of vitality, unproductive emotions, or manipulation of others, sometimes our mind can't transcend that astral plane, that fourth dimension. Then we're open and susceptible to experiencing what they might call nightmares, or being manipulated by someone else, you know, or interacting with someone else in that fourth dimension. Once our mind is able to transcend the fourth dimension, we're in the fifth, sixth, seventh realms, right? You're in the realm of communion. You're in the realm of what they might even call the lucid dreams, where you're in control of your dream. You're not just a passive participant.
Right, you're actually awake inside.
You're an active co-creator of what you're experiencing. You know? So,
yeah.
You know, that would be my interpretation of that thing. You know? And a lot of times, when you're able to go to them higher realms, you don't come back with a memory, more so than just a feeling.
One last question, brother. Another thing people report is the ability to fly. Do you think that's something that exists in other realms but don't exist here? Or was this something that we once had the ability to do down here but we have forgotten, just like we have forgotten many of our other ancient practices?
Our spirit, unfettered by a body, by its nature, flies. Just like...
I'm talking about the physical body. Right now, this projection, Ras Ben, do you believe you once... physical beings, physical vessels once had the ability to fly?
That's what R. Kelly said. Time will tell, brother.
Right.
Time will tell. I do believe there are some ascended masters that, through their manipulation of the elements, can do things that appear, what you say, superhuman. Like
walk on water, stuff like that.
Exactly.
Right.
Float and fly.
Yeah.
So yeah, man, there's some who can do that, you know, but it takes, you know, years of discipline. And if you do it for that sake, what good is it?
Right.
You know, so if I'm going to fly, it's going to be for a reason. Not just to prove
that you can fly.
Fly.
I appreciate your time, brother. Please give the people your contact information if they want to reach you.
RasBen.com. I'm also on Facebook as Ras Ben. Email is rasben188@gmail.com. Yeah, my number is 215-510-3502.
I appreciate your time, brother.
Rastafari.
Peace. Peace, family. Underground Railroad here at Nicholas Bookstore. We here again with the brother Ras Ben. How you doing, brother?
Thankful, blessed.
Brother, it's good to have you here again, brother.
Good to be here.
It's good to have somebody from the black community that deals with, the science of UFOs and extraterrestrials and things of that nature. As I told the brother Blue Pill the other day, man, you gotta examine this from all angles. You know what I'm saying? And nobody's wrong. It's just a different perspective on things. We each have our own idea, and we each got live in this relative reality or whatever. And this is what you're expert at. And if the people could resonate with it, I advise y'all to listen, because this brother's dropping some jewels right here. So we gonna get in. Yeah, so we gonna get right into it, brother Ras Ben. Brother Ras Ben, I've been hearing people talk about this white gentleman that came out with a YouTube video saying that there are black people, jet black beings orbiting Saturn. And Phil Valentine talked about it briefly at the UFO conference. Could you talk briefly about what are they talking about? Because I'm not sure if everybody heard the UFO conference, but what are they talking about when they say there's jet black beings orbiting Saturn?
Well, the reality is one of the biggest secrets surrounded by a myriad of other stars, and they're actually inner Earth beings. These are entities that have been imprisoned, actually, entombed in our Earth for a very long time, probably millions of years. And they're attempting to escape from out of the Earth through manipulating us. And on the flip side, our family, our extraterrestrial ancestors, are trying to look out for us. They're the ones coming from the heavens. And so we're actually in the middle of what you could characterize an intergalactic battle between a species of reptilian type beings and these black humanoids that are, what they say, the guardians of the galaxy. They got that out now. I haven't even seen it, but again, they always want to flip the script. They want everybody to. They want us to visualize everyone as the guardians of the galaxies except ourselves.
So now, these extraterrestrial relatives that we have, do they go through the same issues we go through here on planet Earth, as far as the Caucasian and what we would call racism down here, and them trying to prevent us from having knowledge of self? Are they going through that where they're at?
Well, what I would say is this: one of the names of those reptilian beings, historically and in prophecy, is the deceivers of the nations. Okay? So they have deceived humanity to see ourselves through, as Brother Tariq Bey say, schematica and dogmatica, ism and schism. So there's plenty of ism and schisms that divide me, and race is one of them. Okay? But racism is a false notion, because you can't trust all people with melanin. And everyone who appears like they're from Europe isn't your enemy. And that's real. And it's a hard reality for those who are under the illusion cast by the deceivers of the nations to accept. But they want to divide I and I, because once you're divided, you're easy to conquer, But that's not to say that they haven't manipulated certain non-melanated people, right? Because see, one thing melanin does is it increases your sensitivity, right? The more sensitive you are, more than likely, the more empathetic, sympathetic, and compassionate you're going to be, right? When you're in that state, it's hard to act inhumane and do things in a dehumanized state, right? If you want to act, if you want to manipulate someone to act in an inhumane, dehumanized way, you got to make them insensitive, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that they don't feel what a next one is going through.
Mm-hmm.
It's easier for the deceivers of the nations to manipulate non-melanated people to be in that state. Okay?
Mm.
And but that manipulation has to also go genetic, meaning those reptilian beings have spawned, have interbred, intermingled, mixed up their genetics with certain European-looking cats, right? They're the ones that are called the blue bloods, right? Those 13 bloodlines, celestial bodies. But that's the seventh heaven. But then you also got what will be the sixth heaven, is what they call the Milky Way spiral. But that arm of stellar dust and stars that, you know, we see as the Milky Way. That's the sixth heaven. Heaven right after that is the Sirius star system. Sirius star system is the closest, what they call black star, dark star, to our solar system. That's how we know the Sirius system is actually our central sun, that our sun orbits around. It's a dark star, 8.2 light years away, which in celestial terms is very close. You know?
Mm-hmm.
Then you got the solar sphere, the lunar sphere, the atmosphere. Those are the seven heavens. Okay? The rulers of them all, rulers of all those heavens.
Black beings.
Humanoids, that's right.
Black humanoids are rulers of all these heavens.
That's right. So, Babylon is trying to trick us into thinking that the ones they call the Greys and the Reptilians, that they're extraterrestrial in origin. That they